Hello, college football fans. Big news that happened earlier today. Early this morning on a Saturday morning. The Tennessee Volunteers have moved on from quarterback Nico Iamaleava, Iamaleava, however y'all pronounce him. The Vols and Iamaleava had been reported negotiating a new NIL deal ahead of the transfer portal, which would open on April 16th. Turns out that they have parted ways with Nico Iamaleava, and he's expecting to go to the transfer portal. Okay, so this is a bigger issue in college football where the player wants more NIL money to stay in that college and get ready for the pros. And all of a sudden, they move on with him just 3 days before the um before transfer portal opens. It's got to be disappointing for the Vols. What does this mean? Very quickly, I just think they got to go to the portal and find someone at quarterback. At this point, the top guys that are still in the transfer portal, go look for them. Go look for them. Um, this is a huge situation for Tennessee and for Nico Iamaleava, or I could call him Nico, but it's a tough decision. But Joe, um, the head coach of Tennessee did mention about this, so this is very disappointing news for Nico as he is going to the portal. So, what does that mean for Nico? Where could we see Nico? Okay, so I have four landing spots. Let's talk about them. Number one, this is not my top number one, like clearly the perfect landing spot. Number one, but it's not that. Number one, UNC. Let's talk about it. Got a new head coach in Bill Belichick. They did, however, brought in Bryce Baker from the recruiting system. So you can expect to bring in a leadership quarterback to lead and teach Bryce Baker when his time is up. I think that would be a great fit, but question will be how much of the NIL money are they going to give to Nico to join the Tar Heels? The other team that will make a lot of sense is the UCLA Bruins. Bruins lost their quarterback, Madden Iamaleava, to Arkansas. You remember, Nico's brother was the quarterback in UCLA, now going to Arkansas. That would be a great move for Deshaun Foster, who entering his second year as the head coach of the Bruins, bringing a veteran, experienced quarterback to UCLA, and maybe they could win some games in the Big Ten. The next team, I got the Trojans, the USC Trojans. Maybe the Trojans do have a quarterback battle between Jalen Malava and Nico. Have that bit of that competition, but Riley Leonard's going to need a quarterback that's going to come in and win some games in the Big Ten. And then finally, I just want to make this obvious move: the Oregon Ducks. Now, the Ducks do have two quarterbacks that are going to have a quarterback battle, of course. But adding Nico would make this offense really great with Nico. Dante Moore, of course, came in from the transfer portal last year. He went from UCLA to Oregon to back up Dylan Gabriel. However, if you bring in Nico and Dante does not get any chance of starting, maybe he's going to want to ask to leave Oregon, maybe go somewhere like maybe a good example of it is that would be Cal. They lost their quarterback who's now to the Hoosiers, and he could join Cal. Other teams, people could look at Texas Tech. They could look for a quarterback, of course. Um, they're looking for that position as well. Syracuse, you look at the Orange, of course. Kyle McCord is no longer um, in Syracuse. So you could probably bring in Nico in that offense, maybe win some double digit wins. Um, we'll see where it goes. For me, I think the two teams that make sense is UNC and UCLA. One of those two. But if I have to pick one of those two, I think I think UCLA makes sense. I think he goes to UCLA, wins some football games for Deshaun Foster in his second year as the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. And if they add Nico, he's got a good arm that is going to help them get some more chunks of plays. If you have not seen my other college football news, which I mentioned about Frank Wright as the interim head coach of the Stanford Cardinals, go check that out on my channel. Again, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. The big news today on college football news, Nico Iamaleava is heading to the transfer portal.